Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. I've always loved my twin brother, Michael. He's my brother, after all. But there was a time when I wasn't too fond of him. Thankfully, that's behind us now. Today, Max is getting married, and I'm here, offering sisterly support as he gets ready for his big day. He's understandably nervous, but I can't help but feel proud watching him. Over the years, he's grown into such a wonderful person. I smiled as I watched the makeup artist work on his face, while the hairstylist styled his long, blonde hair. He chatted and laughed with Olivia, his best friend and maid of honor. Seeing him so happy and excited was heartwarming. "Thank you for flying in the pros," I said to my girlfriend. "How many brides get pampered on their big day by people who work with supermodels?" "My pleasure, my love," Evelyn replied with that sexy French accent. "He's a pretty boy, but they'll make him even more stunning." "They've already done it," I smiled, admiring their work. "I need a cigarette," Evelyn said, giving my backside an affectionate squeeze. "Want to join me outside?" "No thanks, sweetie. I'm good here," I answered. "I want to soak in every moment. It's not every day a girl's brother becomes the bride." "I'll meet you inside later." Max, or Mimi, as he prefers now, stood up when the stylists were done, admiring himself in the full-length mirror. He wore cream-colored underwear, a push-up bra accentuating his chest, a garter belt, and silk stockings paired with 3-inch heels. The silk panties had a slight bulge, but fortunately, the layers of petticoats beneath his wedding dress would cover it, preventing any potential embarrassment. He wore a blue garter on his right thigh, while the something old and something borrowed were the pearl necklace and earrings our mom had lent him, worn by her at her own wedding. "Are my stockings seams straight, Emma?" he asked, looking over his shoulder. "Perfectly straight," I replied. "Stop stressing. You look absolutely stunning. Peter's a lucky guy. When you undress for him tonight, he'll be speechless." "Not all of it, I hope," Max giggled. "He'll need some of it when he gets his turn." "Oh, Mimi," Olivia said, her hand to her mouth in mock shock. Max had always been attractive, but after rhinoplasty, he had the cutest button nose, which complemented his full lips and large blue eyes. His features had become almost doll-like, enhanced by the bone structure work on his brow and chin. Max loved makeup, but even without it, he was incredibly pretty. He had that sweet, innocent look like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. You'd never guess the fun he'd had over the years with half the guys in town. It's hard to believe that he's the same person I'd grown to resent years ago. Back then, in our mid-teens, I realized I was a lesbian, something difficult to accept in a town like ours in the Bible Belt. I hadn't come out to anyone, but I felt like I'd explode if I didn't share my secret with someone. Max and I had always been close, as twins should be, but once we hit our teens, things started changing. And I think it was because of Reverend Grant. Reverend Greg Grant, the pastor at our church, seemed to only focus on the parts of the Bible that condemned people, particularly those who were homosexual. He had a warped interpretation that emphasized sin over the teachings of love, and he often reserved his harshest sermons for homosexuality, calling it the biggest threat to society. I'd always found him creepy, but Max idolized him. So, when I finally considered coming out to someone, I was terrified. Max was my twin, the one person I loved more than anyone else, and I wanted him to understand. Surely, he would, right? Wrong. When I came out to Max, he unleashed everything he had absorbed from Reverend Grant, every bit of toxic hate. He called me cruel names, things that still sting too much to fully remember. I was shocked, hurt, and most of all, angry. As Max's words kept coming, my anger swelled, and something else began to rise within me, a force straining to break free. Both emotions burst from me at once, like a dam breaking. I don't remember the exact words I used, but I know I spoke from a place of pain and frustration. I told him how I wanted him to see things from my perspective. It was my hurt talking, but it was backed by a strange new power that surged within me in that moment. When it ended, Max was changed. "Hey, sis," Max said, pulling me back to the present. "Help me with my corset. You're stronger than Olivia." "Happy to," I said, moving over to gather the laces at the back. Max took a deep breath, and I pulled them as tight as I could. "Tighter," he said. "I want my waist as small as possible." "All right, if you insist," I said, somehow finding the strength to comply. "But don't blame me if you faint at the altar. I may just pass out from excitement," he giggled. Once I finished lacing him up, he turned and flashed me a dazzling smile. I looked at his delicate, painted face, and a pang of guilt struck me. "I need to know something," I told him. "I need to know you're happy like this, that you don't wish things were the way they were before. Please be honest, Maximum. Call me Mimi, please." "And yes, I'm really happy like this, sis," he said, his face serious. "I don't know why or how I changed, why I went from liking girls to wanting to be like them and liking boys instead. But I remember how I felt back then, and I'm happier now than I've ever been." "Good. I'm glad. I was the reason he felt that way, after all." Once I realized what I had done to Max, I tried to undo it, but I couldn't. In the days that followed, I experimented with my newfound power and discovered I could make anyone do whatever I wanted, make them think whatever I wanted. But I couldn't change Max back. That first burst of power, fueled by my anger, was stronger than anything that followed. It solidified what I had done to Max, and I didn't have the strength to reverse it. What I could do, however, was make everyone else accept him as he was. First, I spoke to our parents, making sure they understood and fully accepted Max for who he was. They did, and they even agreed to pay for his cosmetic surgery when he asked. Next, I turned to our school. I had the principal assemble everyone in the gym for an important announcement, and it was easy to tell them to be fully accepting of all sexualities and to treat Max as they would any other girl. It took a while, but in our small town, I managed to reach everyone and made it as gay-friendly a place as you'll find. I even spread the word to nearby towns, creating a protective ring around ours. One unexpected side effect of making the town so accepting was that even the most strictly heterosexual boys were suddenly queuing up to date Maximum. That surprised me, along with another consequence I should have anticipated but didn't. "A penny for your thoughts," Olivia said with a smile. "Honestly, Emma, it's like you're a million miles away." "Sorry," I said, smiling back at the pretty redhead. "I was just thinking about how we got here." Yes, the other unexpected outcome was that by making the town so inclusive, I made it an easier place for others who had been closeted to come out. And come out they did. Who knew our cheerleading squad had so many lesbians? Or that our classmate Kevin Geary wanted to transition and eventually become Max's maid of honor? I have to admit, I preferred Kevin as Olivia, and so did most others. Not long after Olivia came out, he and Max joined the cheerleading squad, alongside the other lesbians. Ah, the lesbians on the cheerleading squad. I had a lot of fun with those girls. Speaking of those who came out, Reverend Greg Grant now has a boyfriend who lives with him and his wife. I guess the saying is true, scratch a homophobe and you'll find someone in the closet. Considering the anti-gay sermons he used to preach, and one of his favorite cliches, I can't help but feel some satisfaction that his boyfriend's name is Steve. "It's time to get me into my dress," Max announced. Olivia and I carefully lifted the dress off the stand and lowered it to the floor, allowing Max to step into it. We raised it to chest level so he could slip his arms through the sleeves. I zipped him up at the back while Olivia gently placed his veil over his perfectly styled hair. She kept the veil up for now, so Jackson, a renowned fashion photographer and good friend of Evelyn's, who was handling the official wedding photos, could step in and take some pictures of Max as the bride before he was escorted down the aisle by our father. Another favor Evelyn had pulled off for me. Ah, Evelyn. I had transformed our town and the surrounding area into a safe, gay-friendly space for Max, so why not aim to do the same for the whole country? I've thought about it, but whatever this power of mine is, it doesn't feel right to use it on that scale. I changed people's attitudes locally because it was my responsibility to create a safe environment for Max, but if I went national, if I used it to erase people's free will, it would make me a tyrant, no matter how noble my intentions. No, I try to use this power as little as possible, though it isn't easy. The problem is, it's always active and there's no way to turn it off. Whatever I ask, people just do it, without question or hesitation. So, when I became smitten with Evelyn from afar, arranged to meet her, and asked her out, of course, she said yes. Maybe it was wrong, but I'm only human. I need love just as much as anyone else. And the way to get together with someone is through conversation. If everyone I'm interested in will agree, regardless of who they are, why not aim high? Why not go for an international supermodel? I love Evelyn, and our life together in New York is something I never imagined in my wildest dreams. Now that we're a couple, I always ask Evelyn what she wants to do rather than suggesting things myself, since nothing I say can ever be just a suggestion. I couldn't be with someone who was simply my puppet, and this is the only way I know to avoid that. Of course, Evelyn has a power over me of her own. She owns my heart. And I would do anything for her. Just as Jackson finished taking photos, the door opened, and our father, with perfect timing, stepped into the room. "Ready, princess?" he smiled, offering Max his arm. "Yes, Daddy," Max replied, flashing Dad a dazzling smile as he took it. Olivia lowered the veil for Max, and then we fell into formation behind them, making our way out of the room. When we reached the top of the aisle, the church organist began to play "Here Comes the Bride." As we walked down the aisle toward Max's groom, with smiling friends and family surrounding us, I knew that I had done everything I could for Max. My brother, the bride. Don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content,